Welcome back to today's podcast. I'm so excited to be joined by Dr. Sarah Nasir today. We're going to go a little bit different in today's show. We are going to talk maybe a little bit less about our physical health and more about our own well being. Today, we are talking about some introspection. We are talking about prioritizing ourselves and just overall becoming better versions of ourselves. Dr. Nasir is here to drop some absolute pearls today. So listen up, it's going to be a great episode. Are you a busy woman who prioritizes everyone else's health above your own? Do you have questions about your diet, exercise, or how to prevent or treat certain health conditions? Are you always Googling health questions that you forget to ask or are embarrassed to ask your primary care physician? Girl, do you even have a primary care physician? Well, welcome to Headed to Healthier. I'm Dr. Brittany Anderson, a board-certified family medicine physician, and every day in my private practice, I have discussions with women just like you who are doing their best to juggle the demands of life while also desiring to become healthier. Inside this podcast, you'll find practical and actionable health tips that you can incorporate into your daily life. You'll get expert advice and insight from some of my awesome healthcare colleagues, and you'll hear relatable conversations with incredible women just like you who have made their health a priority and are thriving because of it. So throw on your sneakers and get some steps in while you listen. Or if you're driving, get those hands at 10 and 2 and let's dig in. We are headed to healthier. Welcome back to today's episode. I am so excited for our special guest here today. Dr. Sarah Nasir is here to join us. Dr. Nasir is a wonderful family medicine physician. You actually are double certified in both family medicine and addiction medicine. Is that right?
Yes, Brittany, and thank you so much for having me. I am excited to be here today too.
Absolutely, Sarah. So great to have you here. And so, double certified in family medicine and addiction medicine. And you describe yourself as a parallel and serial entrepreneur. Before we even get started, I need you to explain to me and to my listeners what that even means.
Great question. So, we are all familiar with the word of entrepreneur. Those are the people who go out and believe in their dreams and they chase it and they try to make it real. And then serial entrepreneurs are people who just love it so much that they go for one after another. What I'm finding myself doing is that I have so many ideas in my head and I feel like I have so little time. So I want to just jam pack them all in, give birth to all of these babies and see where they go. I have started, I do things. I birth one idea and then get it going, then go to the next idea, birth it and going, and then come back and keep nurturing these, like, for lack of better words, like multi-gestational products here. And so that's what I call parallel entrepreneurship, is where you are nurturing multiple ideas and businesses at the same time, not raising one kid, reaching them to adulthood and then having a baby. This is like have baby back to back and then just grow them all together. So that is my version of parallel entrepreneurship.
Gotcha. I appreciate that definition because it really gets to the heart of what we're going to talk about today. And so, one of the things that we wanted to talk about today was one, all of my listeners, both of us are really busy women. And at the same time that we're out busy managing all these different things, whether they are different businesses, our career, our families, we also want to make sure that we're taking the time to prioritize our health and our own well being. And going into that, and we definitely will talk about that in detail in a little bit. I want to talk about a company that you founded in 2023, Transcendent You. I've read about it a good bit, and I am just so inspired by the mission behind it and the work you're doing. Would you tell us just a little bit about that?
Definitely. Thank you for asking. So, Transcendent You is what came out of, like, it's one of my first babies. It's like my second born, is what I'm going to call it. This is where I feel it's the most in alignment with my mission and vision in life. It's my coaching program, and the goal of it is to inspire other souls to become transcendents. And this is a new term that I am coining. I mean, it's out there, but I'm trying to add its own meaning to it. And what a transcendent is it's an inspired soul who transcends their limits, like their limiting beliefs, like I can't do it, or society says that this is not good enough, I should be a certain way, etc. And then after transcending their limits, they connect with their limitless soul. So that is where our power comes from. And when we're baby, we are so in tune with it. When our soul is telling us, like, look at that shiny object, go get it, go put it in your mouth, see how it tastes. You're exploring, you're enjoying. If you fall, you get right back up because you're just so excited to go to the next thing, to the point that it helps you develop and evolve, right? And I found that when I started to listen more to what my soul was telling me, I started to become less anxious, more present in life, more active. And when I do something, even though I'm doing all these parallel stuff, I don't feel like I'm drained. Rather, I feel I am recharged, re energized, excited to see what's the next thing that's going to come. So that is the what I've found to be the power of turning within again, drowning out the external noise where people say that you're being crazy, or just take it easy, enjoy your actual physical kids and chase these dreams and ideas later. That's one of the things I had to overcome. I found the friend inside myself who I feel like I'm having an exceptional fun time discovering. That self discovery is so exciting, so elating. It is addicting, and I do believe as an addiction medicine doctor that we are supposed to be addicted to growing and evolving, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a sustained thing if you do it that way versus doing the quick highs and lows. So the third thing that a transcendent does is they tap into the power of their purpose. And that what is your purpose is the thing that you find when you start listening to yourself. We're
Mm-hmm.
all here for a reason. And every time when I have deviated from that or I have ignored that is when I've found myself drained of energy, being aimless, lack of direction. And that wears you out when you're doing it for everybody else, but it's not refueling your soul. You run out of energy. And the last thing that a transcendent does is that they live a life of design that is fulfilling and thrilling. And I think that just encapsulates it. For me, it's that I need to leave behind legacies that empower and better the world after I'm gone, where my children, my grandchildren, and everybody else that comes after them is going to be better and continue to contribute back to the world and fulfill their purpose. So I identify as a transcendent, and that's what I'm trying to do.
There you go. Well, I will tell you that my new goal in life is to also identify as a transcendent because I'm working on so many of those things that you mentioned. And again, you have this wonderful coaching program. If it's okay with you, after the show, I'll ask you for a link and I'll make sure that I link it in our show notes so that any listeners who are interested in learning more about the program and more about you are able to find you there. The topic of today's discussion really leans into that. I wanted us to talk about becoming the best version of ourselves, finding that inner person, discovering that new inner friend that you mentioned, and also about just prioritizing our health. Our health, not just our physical health, but our well being as a whole. And so I appreciate again you coming on to the show to talk about that. Kind of to piggyback off of what you just mentioned, so many women, especially, feel like prioritizing our health is just another thing to add to this long to do list of things we already have going on, a list that for so many people is already overflowing. I know that you're really big into discussing mindsets and kind of shifting your mindset towards positive. Would you mind sharing with us a little bit how we can effectively add prioritizing our health to our long to do list?
Great question. And, going back to the principles of a transcendent, connecting the concept of wellness with a transcendent, it is one of the next things that I talk about. Transcendent principles is the six dimensions of a transcendent. Health is made of mind, body, and spirit. And as I continue to lean into that and take care of my patients with addiction, I'm realizing that there's three more components, the broad categories that I'm seeing that are impacted here. And those are social dimension, financial dimension, and aspirational dimension. So, physical dimension, mental and emotional dimension, spiritual dimension, and then the other three that I mentioned, all these together. Once you are feeling fulfilled in these areas, I feel that's where this energizing, constructive wellness starts to come in. So, when you're asking me about women not prioritizing their health first, what we end up doing, this is what I was doing at the beginning, was also worrying about everything else. And, I've seen other women around me have it worse. And I'm just somebody who I guess has a little bit of a rebel bone in me that I'm going to not lose myself. I've been put in this life, I've been put on this earth. I want to experience it. So I'm allowing myself at this stage to be selfish enough to collect those experiences. Um, and that's one of the things where you need to, I feel like, be selfish enough, because if you're not selfish enough, you can't be selfless. You have to be
Hmm.
selfish to take care of yourself, because I think that's one of the, as women, we're trained to, like, the conditioning we're given, that a good girl doesn't do this, a good girl doesn't do that, a good woman does this and that. And all of it is about pleasing and appeasing the others, less about connecting with ourselves and balancing within. And that's where we lose that ability to look at ourselves as a key driver of the impact and the goodness that we put out into the world. So if you want to create impact, leave a legacy behind that is something you're going to be proud of, you need to invest in yourself. You need to prepare yourself. You need to be full. It's easier to pour from a filled cup than it is from an empty cup.
And so, thinking about women and their health in general and taking this big step towards making the decision to become healthier, are there any tips that you have of how women can go about this?
Yeah. And the first one, I'm going to give credit to one of my friends in, one of my first jobs after I finished residency. She would say, Sarah, you have to put on your own oxygen mask first. When you're in the airline, when you get on, they say, like, before you help anybody else, help yourself first, basically. So if you don't have your own oxygen mask on first, what happens is you become a liability. Okay.
Hmm.
First,
Hmm.
secure yourself. And to do that, I think you need to give yourself permission that your health is a priority. And not doing that is what allows you to ignore it. And I'm saying you because I had to do it myself.
Right,
I
right.
had to give priority to my dimensions, that my wellness is important in showing up for my actual kids, and then my businesses, my husband, my community, and my patients. The third thing I would recommend is be your best self advocate. And so that requires you to be your friend as well, to trust yourself in yourself enough, to believe in yourself enough that you're worth it, that your health matters, your wellness matters, your presence matters. And then the last thing is that, I mentioned that you have to believe that you're worth investing in, that you're investable. And so you actually save time by taking care of yourself and being at your best health. Because if you're in good health, you can give more.
So, yeah, so for folks who still going along the lines of that just a little bit more, for folks who say that they only have a few minutes in a day, so, we all are busy, absolutely, as we're making these new strides to be healthier, make our health a priority, and like you said, putting our own oxygen mask on first. What does that look like for a woman who may say, you know what, I am on this journey to wanting to become healthier. I need to do it in baby steps. I've got maybe 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes in a day that I can devote to this. What would you say, Dr. Nasir, are the most impactful things that these women could do as they get on this journey to healthier with a limited amount of time?
So, for someone who's trying to transcend in their wellness dimension, physically, mentally, areas, um, I have what I call like the 4 or 5 steps. The first one is identify. identify, and then the second one is triage, the third one is batching, and the last one is delegating.
Okay.
Identify what you enjoy, identify the activities that you want to do. And for me, that's my hack for doing also things I don't want to do. So what I do is I pair something I enjoy a lot. I sandwich something I don't like in the middle of two things I enjoy doing.
Oh, that's really good. I'm stealing that like tomorrow. That is good.
Okay. Okay. So, for example, for the podcast, that we were talking about before that I want to launch, I enjoy talking with people, but I suffer from that imposter syndrome as somebody willing to listen to it. So, this is why I like to have a body double who I can just be like, let's just sit down and chit chat and we'll get it done. So that's one of the ways that I do it. And then the other identification that you need to do is what is the important things, because you might not have 15 minutes enough all in one day, but you have multiple 15 minutes over the span of a week and then over a span of a month. So plan it out that this this day, this 15 minutes, I want to walk. This is one that I struggle with, that going out for a walk when I have 10-15 minutes. And so my daughter, I enjoy spending that morning time with her, and we live within walking distance of school. So
Mhm.
I'm pairing something I don't like, which is walking, with spending time with my daughter and just talking with her on the way to school. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of like cheating my brain and distracting it from focusing on, oh, I don't like this, to like, oh my gosh, I get to spend time with my daughter and take her to school and we talk about things. So that's what I'm talking about, that pairing thing.
Right. That makes so
And
much sense. I love that.
yeah. And then the triaging is where it comes in. It's like, what is important? So, as doctors, we know what triaging is. That, somebody who's having a chest pain with a ST elevation is not going to be sitting around waiting, versus somebody who has come in with a, stubbed toe is somebody who can wait a little bit more. So, looking at your schedule and your activities in that way about, do you really need to prepare your food every single day, or can you prepare something one week, like one day, like devote one few hours on it and then plan for the whole week, and you just put it in and then you just bring it every day for healthy lunch. Let's say you want to be more healthy about what you're putting into your body, so you just spend a Saturday or a Sunday to do it. And that's also batching. That goes into my next thing, is that I'm batching. So that Sunday meal prep is batching, and then I'm putting it into enjoy later. Then the delegating thing, I think, is a really important one for me. This is something that helps me get a lot done as a community leader in my community. And that was also running multiple committees for our mosque. And I, find people and I try to identify who has what talent or what they're good at. And I'm like, you are making the flyer, you are sending this out, and that way just like I'm there utilizing the resources that I need to. So for a
Hmm.
woman who has only 15 minutes in her day, is that, can you delegate laundry to somebody? Can you delegate the house cleaning to somebody? Can you delegate some breaking down of the Amazon boxes to somebody?
Right. And whether that's somebody else within the house already, or maybe sometimes it's hiring out a new person, right? To come in and just help relieve you from some of those daily tasks that we otherwise spend hours of our day doing. That makes sense. All right. Thank you. That makes so much sense. And I especially love the idea of sandwiching things that you don't love with things that you either have to do already or things that you really do find some pleasure in. And so I'm, like I said before, going to certainly steal that one and put that one into action next week.
Yeah.
One of the more important things that we think about is when we start creating habits, one, making sure they're healthy habits, right? But also making sure that they are habits that are sustainable and things that we can do long term. And a lot of times that requires us staying motivated and sometimes even having others to hold us accountable, right? And whether that is finding an accountability buddy, whether that's using an app on your phone, whether that is giving yourself kind of daily pep talks before you leave home, we both understand the importance of making sure that we are staying motivated and that we are either holding ourselves accountable or having someone else to hold us accountable. I know that's one of the things that you and I talked about a good bit in our previous discussions. Would you mind going over that just a little bit with us, maybe sharing some strategies for staying motivated and for keeping ourselves accountable?
Yeah, so for the answer to that fun question is, as you mentioned, accountability. Having accountability partners, somebody who is headed in the same direction as you, somebody that you enjoy talking with, you enjoy, collaborating with, just makes it more fun,
Hmm.
less dreadful. And also, you know that you have to answer to somebody. Like as humans, we kind of do care about what others think of us. And so using that to your advantage of, being like, what will my friend think if I'm not there and they're the only one there, right?
Right.
And I think the other thing about accountability partners is that it develops that tribe around you, that flock around you. And when you are flying with birds of the same feather, like I like to think about the migrating ducks during winter time, they fly in that V formation. And what that allows them to do is it cuts down the drag that they have to go through to get to where they want to go. So this actually helps them get more distance with less energy consumption, and they will take turns, switch up who's leading and stuff. But that aerodynamics gives them better lift, further distance coverage, and that's something that I think working with others of your type really helps you as well. You don't deviate from the path, you have fun in the process as well. And
Yeah,
then
and it lets you feed off of their momentum, right? Like just what you're saying, it
exactly.
lets you feed off their momentum. And on days where you'd maybe rather not do whatever that task is, you've got a group of others or maybe one other really strong person who is doing that thing. I love that.
Thank you. I think it's nature is so amazing in that way. Like so many answers are already out there. We just need to identify it. And so, yeah, that's where that second thing comes in, that group activity, doing it together. I like to call it hang out with the birds of your own feather or the
Gotcha.
flock of the same feather.
All right, birds of a feather flock together, right? Love it. Love
Exactly.
it. I would ask, are there any final thoughts? I know you and I chatted a good bit before this and in days past, and I want to make sure I didn't hit record early enough, is what I told you. We had such a good talk even before we started recording this episode. But was there anything else that you wanted to add?
I think the only few statements that I would share from my journey thus far, and it won't take long, I'm just going to be like, boom, sentence, is, you have to tell yourself, if not now, then when? If you don't start now, then when will you start? If not you, then who? Those ideas, inspirations, desires that come to your mind that wake you up in the middle of the night, if you don't believe in it, if you don't mobilize on it, who will?
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
have been trained for this. So trust in yourself. And then another thing that I've had to really struggle with is that concept of perfectionism. I had to abandon it. Um, and what I had to realize is that perfection is not real. What it is about is becoming excellent in who we are and what we can be. So that excellence is a journey, is a destination. And when we set foot in that destination, we have already started the process of becoming great. And so what I'm telling myself is that I'm greatness in progress. And so
Awesome.
anybody else who wants to do that for themselves, like I encourage you to tell yourself that.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Nasir, Sarah, it has been so wonderful having you join. I know that our listeners got so much. I've been sitting here taking notes, and I know that I've gotten so much. Again, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure to have you. I feel like we've all learned so much. I appreciate your time and you sharing with us, and I wish you the absolute best on your journey.
Thank you so much, Brittany. It definitely has been a pleasure being on this show, and I hope that your listeners are having as much fun listening to this conversation as we have had recording it, and that they also walk away with something that will, help them transcend.
Hey, thanks for listening in today. I hope something you heard in this episode will help you on your journey to becoming healthier. Remember, this podcast offers general health information. I am not your personal physician. If you need advice that is specific to you, be sure to consult your physician. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider sharing it with a friend and reviewing it on Apple Podcasts. Also, be sure to subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. Tune in next week for another great episode of Headed to Healthier. Until then, take care of yourself. Talk soon. Bye.